Climate. Moscow has a humid continental climate with long, cold winters usually lasting from mid-November to the end of March, and warm summers. More extreme continental climates at the same latitude such as parts of eastern Canada or Siberia have much colder winters than Moscow, suggesting that there is still significant moderation from the Atlantic Ocean despite the fact that Moscow is far from the sea. Weather can fluctuate widely, with temperatures ranging from 25 degrees Celsius in the city and 30 degrees Celsius in the suburbs to above 5 degrees Celsius in the winter, and from 10 to 35 degrees Celsius in the summer. Typical high temperatures in the warm months of June, July, and August are around a comfortable 20 to 26 degrees Celsius, but during heat waves, daytime high temperatures often exceed 30 degrees Celsius, sometimes for a week or two at a time. In the winter, average temperatures normally drop to approximately 10 degrees Celsius, though almost every winter there are periods of warmth with day temperatures rising above 0 degrees Celsius, and periods of cooling with night temperatures falling below 20 degrees Celsius. These periods usually last about a week or two. The growing season in Moscow normally lasts for 156 days, usually around the 1st of May to the 5th of October. The highest temperature ever recorded was 38.2 degrees Celsius at the VVC weather station and 39.0 degrees Celsius in the center of Moscow and Domodedovo Airport on the 29th of July, 2010, during the unusual 2010 Northern Hemisphere summer heat waves. Record high temperatures were recorded for January, March, April, May, July, August, November, and December in 2007 to 2014. The average July temperature from 1981 to 2010 is 19.2 degrees Celsius. The lowest ever recorded temperature was 42.1 degrees Celsius in January, 1940. Snow, which is present for about 5 months a year, often begins to fall mid-October, while snow cover lies in November and melts at the beginning of April. On average, Moscow has 1,731 hours of sunshine per year, varying from a low of 8% in December to 52% from May to August. This large annual variation is due to convective cloud formation. In the winter, moist air from the Atlantic condenses in the cold continental interior, resulting in very overcast conditions. However, this same continental influence results in considerably sunnier summers than oceanic cities of similar latitude such as Edinburgh. Between 2004 and 2010, the average was between 1,800 and 2,000 hours with a tendency to more sunshine in summer months, up to a record 411 hours in July, 2014, 79% of possible sunshine. December, 2017, was the darkest month in Moscow since records began, with only 6 minutes of sunlight. Temperatures in the center of Moscow are often significantly higher than in the outskirts and nearby suburbs, especially in winter. For example, if the average February temperature in the northeast of Moscow is 6.7 degrees Celsius, in the suburbs it is about 9 degrees Celsius. The temperature difference between the center of Moscow and nearby areas of Moscow Oblast can sometimes be more than 10 degrees Celsius on frosty winter nights. Recent changes in Moscow's regional climate, since it is in the mid-latitudes of the northern hemisphere, are often cited by climate scientists as evidence of global warming, though by definition, climate change is global, not regional. During the summer, extreme heat is often observed in the city. Along with the southern part of central Russia, after recent years of hot summer seasons, the climate of the city gets hot summer classification trends. Winter also became significantly milder. For example, the average January temperature in the early 1900s was 12.0 degrees Celsius, while now it is about 7.0 degrees Celsius. At the end of January-February it is often colder, with frosts reaching 30.0 degrees Celsius a few nights per year. The last decade was the warmest in the history of meteorological observations of Moscow. Temperature changes in the city are depicted in the table below. Religion. Christians form the majority of the city's population, most of whom adhere Russian Orthodox Church. The Patriarch of Moscow serves as the head of the church and resides in the Danilov Monastery. Moscow was called the city of 40 times 40 churches, prior to 1917. Moscow is Russia's capital of Eastern Orthodox Christianity, which has been the country's traditional religion. Other religions practiced in Moscow include Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, Yazidism, and Rodnovery. The Moscow Mufti Council claimed that Muslims numbered around 1.5 million of 10.5 million of the city's population in 2010. There are 4 mosques in the city. Bus, trolleybus and electric bus. As metro stations outside the city center are far apart in comparison to other cities, up to 4 kilometers, a bus network radiates from each station to the surrounding residential zones. Moscow has a bus terminal for long-range and intercity passenger buses with a daily turnover of about 25,000 passengers, serving about 40% of long-range bus routes in Moscow. Every major street in the city is served by at least one bus route. Many of these routes are doubled by a trolleybus route and have trolley wires over them. With the total line length of almost 600 kilometers of a single wire, 8 depots, 104 routes, and 1,740 vehicles, the Moscow trolleybus system was the largest in the world. But municipal authority, headed by Sergei Sobyanin, began to destroy the trolleybus system in Moscow in 2014 due to the planned replacement of trolleybuses by electric buses. In 2018, Moscow trolleybus system has only 4 depots and dozens of kilometers of unused wires. Almost all trolleybus wires inside Garden Ring were cut in 2016 to 2017 due to the reconstruction of central streets. Opened on the 15th of November, 1933, it is also the world's 6th oldest operating trolleybus system. In 2018, the vehicle companies KAMAZ and GAZ have won the Moscowtrans tender for delivering 200 electric buses and 62 ultra-fast charging stations to the city transport system. The manufacturers will be responsible for the quality and reliable operation of the buses and charging stations for the next 15 years. The city will be procuring only electric buses as of 2021, replacing the diesel bus fleet gradually. According to expectations, Moscow will become the leader amongst the European cities in terms of electric and gas fuel share in public transport by 2019. All bus stations and terminals of Moscow are now connected to free Wi-Fi. One may use it in international bus stations Sarajevo, Southgate and Northgate, and in bus terminals Vashavskaya and Orekhovo. As much as 48 hotspots were installed there. Metro. The Moscow metro system is famous for its art, murals, mosaics, and ornate chandeliers. It started operation in 1935 and immediately became the centerpiece of the transportation system. More than that, it was a Stalinist device to awe and reward the populace, and give them an appreciation of Soviet realist art. It became the prototype for future Soviet large-scale technologies. Lazar Kaganovich was in charge. He designed the subway so that citizens would absorb the values and ethos of Stalinist civilization as they rode. The outwork of the 13 original stations became nationally and internationally famous. For example, the Sverdlov Square subway station featured porcelain bas-reliefs depicting the daily life of the Soviet peoples, and the bas-reliefs at the Dynamo Stadium sports complex glorified sports and the physical prowess of the powerful new Homo Sovieticus. The metro was touted as the symbol of the new social order, a sort of communist cathedral of engineering modernity. Soviet workers did the labor and the outwork, but the main engineering designs, routes, and construction plans were handled by specialists recruited from the London Underground. The Britons called for tunneling instead of the cut-and-cover technique, the use of escalators instead of lifts, and designed the routes and the rolling stock. The paranoia of Stalin and the NKVD was evident when the secret police arrested numerous British engineers for espionage, that is, for gaining an in-depth knowledge of the city's physical layout. Engineers for the Metropolitan Vikas Electrical Company were given a show trial and deported in 1933, ending the role of British business in the USSR. Today, the Moscow Metro comprises 12 lines, mostly underground, with a total of 203 stations. The metro is one of the deepest subway systems in the world. For instance, the Park Pobedi station, completed in 2003, at 84 meters underground, has the longest escalators in Europe. The Moscow Metro is the busiest metro system in Europe, as well as one of the world's busiest metro systems, serving about 10 million passengers daily. Facing serious transportation problems, Moscow has plans for expanding its metro. In 2016, the authorities launched a new Circle Metro railway that contributed to solving transportation issues, namely daily congestion at Koltsevaya line. Due to the treatment of metro stations as possible canvas for art, characterized by the fact that workers of Moscow would get to see them every day, many Stalin-era metro stations were built in different custom designs. The tradition of grand designs and, basically, decorating metro stations as single-themed installations, was restored in late 1979. More recently, Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin has introduced comforts ranging from Wi-Fi and USB ports and Apple Pay, while opening new stations at a breakneck pace. Moscow's metro is one of the world's busiest, handling 2.6 billion passengers in 2019. In the Russian capital, there are over 21.5 thousand Wi-Fi access points, in student dormitories, in parks, cultural and sports institutions, and within the Garden Ring and the Third Transport Ring. From September 2020 to August 2021, 1,700 new access points to urban Wi-Fi were launched in Moscow. The structure of the Wi-Fi network allows citizens to use the internet without reauthorization. Railway. Several train stations serve the city. Moscow's 10 rail terminals are. The terminals are located close to the city center, along with the Metro Ring Line 5 or close to it, and connect to a metro line to the center of town. Each station handles trains from different parts of Europe and Asia. There are many smaller railway stations in Moscow. As train tickets are cheap, they are the preferred mode of travel for Russians, especially when departing to St. Petersburg, Russia's second largest city. Moscow is the western terminus of the Trans-Siberian Railway, which traverses nearly 9,300 kilometers of Russian territory to Vladivostok on the Pacific coast. Suburbs and satellite cities are connected by commuter Elektrichka network. Elektrichkas depart from each of these terminals to the nearby Lauch railway stations. During the 2010s, the Little Ring of the Moscow Railway was converted to be used for frequent passenger service. It is fully integrated with Moscow Metro. The passenger service started on the 10th of September, 2016. A connecting railway line on the north side of the town connects Belorussky terminal with other railway lines. This is used by some suburban trains. Population. According to the results of the 2010 census, the population of Moscow was 11,503,501, up from 10,382,754 recorded in the 2002 census. The official population of Moscow is based on those holding permanent residency. According to Russia's Federal Migration Service, Moscow holds 1.8 million official guests who have temporary residency on the basis of visas or other documentation, giving a legal population of 13.3 million. The number of illegal immigrants, the vast majority originating from Central Asia, is estimated to be an additional 1 million people, giving a total population of about 14.3 million. Total fertility rate. Economy. Safety. According to the ranking of the safest cities made by The Economist, Moscow occupies the 37th position with a score of 68.5 points %. The general level of crime is quite low. More than 170,000 surveillance cameras in Moscow are connected to the facial recognition system. The authorities recognized the successful 2-month experiment with automatic recognition of faces, gender, and age of people in real time, and then they deployed the system to the whole city. The network of video surveillance unites access video cameras, cameras in the territory and in buildings of schools and kindergartens, at the MCC stations, stadiums, public transport stops, and bus stations, in parks, underground passages. The emergency numbers are the same as in all the other regions of Russia. 112 is the single emergency number, 101 is the number of the fire service and Ministry of Emergency Situations, 102 is the police one, 103 is the ambulance one, 104 is the emergency gas number. Moscow's EMS is the second most efficient one among the world's megacities, as reported by PwC during the presentation of the International Study Analysis of EMS Efficiency in Megacities of the World. History. Prehistory. Archaeological digs show that the site of today's Moscow and the surrounding area have been inhabited since time immemorial. Among the earliest finds are relics of the Lilovo culture, which experts assign to the Neolithic period, the last phase of the Stone Age. They confirm that the first inhabitants of the area were hunters and gatherers. Around 950 AD, two Slavic tribes, Vyatichi and Krivichi, settled here. Possibly the Vyatichi formed the core of Moscow's indigenous population. Early history. The first known reference to Moscow dates from 1147 as a meeting place of Yuri Dolgoruki and Sviatoslav Olgovich. At the time it was a minor town on the western border of Vladimir Suzdal Principality. The chronicle says, "Come, my brother, to Moscow." In 1156, Knyaz Yuri Dolgoruki I fortified the town with a timber fence and a moat. In the course of the Mongol invasion of Kievan Rus, the Mongols under Batu Khan burned the city to the ground and killed its inhabitants. The timber fort now Moskv on the Moscow River was inherited by Daniil, the youngest son of Alexander Nevsky, in the 1260s, at the time considered the least valuable of his father's possessions. Daniil was still a child at the time, and the big fort was governed by Tiens, appointed by Daniil's paternal uncle, Yaroslav of Tver. Daniil came of age in the 1270s and became involved in the power struggles of the principality with lasting success, siding with his brother Dmitry in his bid for the rule of Novgorod. From 1283 he acted as the ruler of an independent principality alongside Dmitry, who became Grand Duke of Vladimir. Daniil has been credited with founding the first Moscow monasteries, dedicated to the Lord's Epiphany and to Saint Daniil.